Hello everyone. So I am sitting in a car right now. It is obviously stopped. I'm not driving right now, but I did want to make a quick video to do my November wrap-up, just talking about everything I was able to read in the month of November. I ended up reading a total of 6 books this month. I read 1 graphic novel, 4 books physically, and then 1 book through audiobook. The first book that I read this month was Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I also read the sequel to that, which is Wind Witch. I rated them both, I think, like 3.75. I enjoyed them. I thought they were fine. I'm gonna continue on with the series for sure. I definitely have some pet peeves within the story. If you don't know what it's about, I'm gonna just tell you kind of the plot of the first one, since obviously the second book follows what happened in the first book. But it's basically following this group of people who have magical powers. There's a lot of ship travel, which is really fun, and it has to do with how certain abilities are more coveted than others. It has a lot of political intrigue. It was fun. It was fine. It's definitely YA. There were some pacing issues throughout the story that I wasn't a huge fan of. There was some issues with like how many new ideas were brought up throughout the books that weren't fully explored. I said that I thought a glossary would be like really helpful with these books. If you want to know my full thoughts on Wind Witch, I made a full book talk for that. I will link it in the description. Of course, it is the second book, so if you haven't read the first and second, I wouldn't recommend watching that video. But that was the first 2 books that I read. I read Wind Witch like later in November, but I'll talk about them together. The next book that I read this month was The Blade Itself by Jo Abercrombie. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think that there were some issues with plot. There wasn't a great driving plot within the story. I didn't think that it was very fast-paced. I really liked the characters. I thought that they were super interesting. I thought there was some pretty good world building, but there wasn't a great like driving plot throughout the story, and I would have really appreciated that. I know that it's the first book in a series though, and I've heard the rest of the books like really carry the plot forward. I just have a hard time when it's like, here's a 500-page book and there's like not a lot of plot in it. I don't know, that's just a little bit much for me. But The Blade Itself follows a few different people who are all definitely very morally gray. It follows a barbarian, an inquisitor, and someone who is involved in the royal family, kind of. He's trained to be a sword fighter, and he's trained to be a captain. And it follows all of them and how their stories kind of intertwine with a war brewing on the horizon. It's enjoyable. I think it was interesting. There were parts of it that I was not a fan of. It's a grimdark fantasy, and Jo Abercrombie just really treated women badly in this story, and I understand that was supposed to be part of the story he was telling, but I just think it could have been done a little bit more tactfully. I just didn't love how Abercrombie handled women in the story. It just didn't do it for me. If you want more of my thoughts on The Blade Itself, I did do a reading vlog of my experience reading that, because I read it kind of like over my birthday week, so I will also link that vlog down below, because I got a little bit more into my thoughts about just generally how I felt about that book. The next book that I finished was my graphic novel. I read Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I ended up giving it a 3-star, like a pretty low 3-star, which was really disappointing, because the whole time I was reading it, I was like, I love this so much. And then I got to the end of it, and I was really disappointed with it. I don't want to give any spoilers for like what happens at the end. It just wasn't what I thought it was going into it. I think it turned out to be really cliche, when the original part of it didn't feel cliche. What I will say though is the art style is adorable. I love the art in it. The general vibe of it was really fun and cute. I don't have a ton to say about it. Pumpkinheads is about 2 friends who are in high school and they're about to be graduating, and it is October, and they work at a pumpkin patch. That's how they know each other, is that they've worked at this pumpkin patch the past however many years. And it's about friendship and about crushes and about love, and it's cute. It's not great. I wanted a lot more from it than I think that I got, but I did enjoy it. I think that if you go into it with pretty, like, I don't know, low expectations, you'll enjoy it. I went in with really high expectations, which is on me, honestly. The next book that I read this month or listened to this month was Reverie by Ryan Lasala. I gave it like a low 4-star. I enjoyed it. I think it was really cute. It's YA, and it definitely feels like something that if I read it when I was 13 or 14, it would have been like my life. Like, it would have been everything that I loved just in a book. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling anything. I really don't want to spoil anything because I think it's good to go into this book like really not knowing anything about it. But it's basically about this kid who has a lapse in memory, and I like don't really want to say a whole lot more than that. He has a lapse in memory and magical things occur that have to do with dreams. That's the main thing that I can say about it. There's so much that happens in it. It has some fun queer rep in it. There are multiple LGBTQ plus characters within it that are shown in a variety of different lifestyles and a variety of different like personalities and in a variety of different like character archetypes, which I appreciate. I thought it was really cute. It's a debut. With it being a debut, you can tell there are definitely things in it that are not 100% there. The pacing was really off at times. I listened to it on an audiobook and like it took me a while to get through it. The pacing just fell off in a lot of places. I would also recommend not listening on audiobook. I don't think the audiobook narrator was bad by any means. I just have been spoiled by listening to really good audiobooks recently that this one just didn't do it for me. I had been listening to audiobooks that were like ones with 20 plus voice actors in them, and so going to this one, it just didn't really do it for me in terms of the like experience of listening to it. I did really enjoy the story though. I thought it was really cute. I think it's especially good for a slightly younger YA audience. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It put a smile on my face. It was cute. It was fun. There was really fun friendship in it. There was really fun sibling relationships in it. Yeah, those are my thoughts on Reverie. The final book that I finished this month was The Seas by Samantha Hunt. Yeah, I loved The Seas a lot. I read it for my women in literature class and it was really good. What I will say about it, me being like, it's really good, I probably wouldn't recommend it to everyone. It is very, very specific. It deals with a lot of graphic content. Definitely be warned if you are interested in going into this book. It basically follows an unnamed protagonist who is 19 and she lives in this seaside town that happens to have the highest rate of alcoholism in the country. A lot of things happen with her. She is experiencing a lot of grief. Her father had committed suicide a few years previous to the story taking place. She is currently like not really dating, kind of dating a veteran who is quite a bit older than her. And the big thing with this is that she thinks that she's a mermaid. It's a bizarre book. It's like only 200 something pages. I loved it. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people will continue not to like it. That's okay. Like, I don't think it is a book for everyone, but if you are into like weird, surrealist, literary fiction pieces that at times just make you go, what is happening? Like, I would recommend reading it. I think it's really interesting. It's pretty short. Like, it took me a few weeks to read it, but that was only because I was like reading it along with my class in sections. But like, if I would have just had it, I probably would have read it in like 2 days, because not only is it only 200 pages, but like the pages are really thin, and the author plays a lot with like blank space. Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely very interesting. I rated it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. But I understand why people wouldn't. Like, I do get it. I understand. So those are the 6 books that I read in November. I enjoyed all of them, and I'm looking forward to continue on reading the series that I started. I feel like I had a pretty good reading month, honestly, this month. I will see you all soon in another video. I hope you all have a good day and a good week. I will see you next time. Goodbye.